If you look at these reports, have ever seen anything similar to this? Would love to see it. The video before this was your total cost of insurance, knowing your why, finding that financial and frictional cost as a claim moves through your business. We put that number out there. We invest a whole bunch of safety, both with Interwest and with the client. And now the real question is, how do we do? So Dan, take it away with the how did we do?
At the end of the day, I just want to reiterate that we gave you at the beginning of the year a KPI. We gave you a rate per thousand, and we've implemented projects and services. We've partnered with you as an organization. We've taken the resources we have to help beef up what you're doing. And ultimately, how did that do? How did we perform? And so that's what this is. And so in this report, we're ultimately looking at a 2-year look back, because that's when we started really implementing some change. And so we're doing it on an apples to apples rate per thousand as a common denominator here, which is annual sales. And so if you scroll down a little bit, so ultimately we went in here, you can see a 5-year look back year over year of premium costs, indirect costs, and ultimately our total cost of insurance. So A plus B there equals C. And you can see change is starting to happen. We can see in that indirect column, claims are being minimized, being reduced, that frictional cost, the indirect costs, they're going away. And that's so important for us as an organization to reduce expenses, right? Reducing expenses, operationally efficient, that creates profitability and happy employees, right? So ultimately, if we scroll down, Interwest, our goal, we went out, we implemented $22,000 of projects and services. That change we are now seeing, right? And so we have that 18 to 21 comparison versus the last 2 years from a rate per thousand. So again, apples to apples. The rate per thousand went from $15.94 down to $9.67. That's a change of $6.27. So for every $1,000 of sales you do, $6.27 is going back to profit, where instead it was going to pay for your insurance program 3 years ago. And so that $6.27 over the 2-year period converts to a financial gain of $225,000, right? So that ultimately is the change of about 0.7 of a profit margin. And I think it's really important for a CEO to know and explore and understand, right? We're consistently looking, how do we improve our business? And in this situation, we would have improved that profit margin by 0.7. That was the equivalent of one more of doing 2.4 million in sales, right? So do you want to try to go out and do 2.4 million in sales, or talk about maybe some of the projects and services that we have that we can ultimately implement for you to grow your business? And so that was a real positive financial change and gain that this company had by partnering with Interwest.
Look at that, $22,440 that Interwest additionally invested with the client, and the gain $225,000. So a 10x return on those dollars spent. And so this is a unique aspect of the value report, that drawing an ROI to those broker services and commissions, right? A 10x on your money, you couldn't afford not to pay this $22,440 because it created $225,000 in additional profits. So
we implement our commissions and services back to reinvesting them into the company.
Right.
And that's why we have such a robust claims and risk team.
We turn right around. So we're not only reinvesting back into Interwest, but with that reinvestment back into Interwest for claims and loss control services, that is back to the client. So it's almost like, when clients are paying Interwest, they're paying themselves to have a result back into their business, right? So this client paid $22,000 and they made an extra $225,000. That's a pretty good return on dollars invested in choosing the right team. So I know I'm tooting our own horn here, but there's not much else you can do when you see a report like this. There's not much else you can do. And so there it is. You can't argue with math. This is real concrete math that would be very hard to avoid this number down here and to avoid this 2.5 number here. Very hard to avoid that. All right. Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.